On today's episode of Kicking It With, I'm going to be chopping it up with none other than legendary Chris Jasper. Hey Chris, how you doing?
Doing great, man. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. I'm really excited and I'm pleased to have you here on Kicking It With so we can chop it up and talk about some of the new stuff that you've been doing. You're a legend and we've spoken before, but it's always great to have a chat with you because you're so legendary. And a lot of people don't know that you were the driving force behind a lot of the Isley Brother hits. You're a consummate composer and just wanted to have a quick chat before we get into the real business about did you do any of the songwriting when you were doing stuff with the Isley Brothers?
Oh yeah, I did most of that, and that's what I was trained to do from like a child. Like 7 years old, I started taking lessons, piano lessons, and my teacher was a professor of music, and I told him I wanted to be a composer.
Oh
so
wow.
so she showed me a lot about composition, how composers would put together their pieces, the themes they would use, the different voicings, and we would analyze music a lot, And so when I got with the group, I just continued to do what I'd been doing, since a child, and that was, coming up with ideas, writing songs, arranging, if need be, if we needed string parts or whatever for different songs, I'd write the parts out for the musicians and conduct a session. So yeah, I was heavily involved in that.
Oh, okay. Good, good. Now, you created the distinct style or the sound of the Isley Brothers, and a lot of people don't know that how intricate the role was that you played in it. How did you discover that you had a specific style?
Well, what I did, I went back when I started to record professionally with the group. I kind of went back and visited some of the things that I did when I was studying composition, and that was putting different genres together.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I took some classical, harmonies and chord structures, and mixed it with a little bit of jazz. And what it did, it created a unique chord structure that I use even to this day. And when people hear my songs come on, they say, "Hey, that's that sound," and
Exactly.
it comes from the chord structures that I've created.
Okay. And you like I said, it's a very distinct style. And you're also a vocalist now on your solo projects and the latest stuff that you're doing, it's obvious. But what was it like and how did you make a decision to be the lead vocalist for Isley Jasper Isley?
That kind of came from just years of singing the parts first, because when we recorded as the Isley Brothers,
Hmm.
uh, like when I wrote a song, I would sing the song first, so that Ronald would have a guide, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
uh, because he didn't write the song, so he had to learn it. So all those years of doing the guide vocals, you know, they kind of knew that Chris could probably could carry the song. You know what I mean? Because a lot of those things that Ronald was doing was kind of things that I was doing, because he would copy exactly what I did,
Yeah. Yeah. From you
like
doing the guide vocals.
night and between the sheets and all that stuff. It's exactly what I sang. So the group kind of knew that, and I was singing, co-lead with Ronald too on some of the Ice Brothers stuff like Tuesday Lover, you know, and stuff. I
Yeah.
was singing co-lead when the whole group was together anyway.
Yeah.
So it was a kind of natural thing for me to do lead with IJI.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? A lot of people need to realize, how expansive your career is. Now, lately, you've been one of the busiest composers, musicians, artists that I have seen because you are dropping records regularly. I'm constantly getting stuff through from you and I'm loving it. And I want to talk to you a little bit about your latest song, which is The Way You Love Me. You want to talk to me about how and what brought about that song? Because it has such a beautiful feel to it, you know?
Yeah, I wanted it to be like an intimate song, like almost as if, I'm just sitting playing the piano and, just singing it to, my wife, exactly. I, I wanted it to be that kind of intimate, not a whole lot of instrumentation, but whatever the instrumentation is, is very, it fits very well in that context, you know what I mean? It doesn't stand out, it just blends right in. And I used some of the synthesizer sounds that I had, you know, uh, explored like early on, like
Mhm.
with Highways of My Life and, those songs.
Yeah.
Uh, I thought it would be a good time to, bring that kind of sound right back in there. And it fit beautifully. And I just wanted it to be one of those love songs where, if a person wanted to say something, to a woman, what would, it would be, all you have to do is put the song on, you know what I mean? And just let it play, and
Yeah.
that's
You are
kind of the concept behind it.
you are great at writing love songs. That is like it's a no-brainer for you. How does that process work for you? Is it just you wake up one day and you just have some lyrics in mind, or you're sitting at your piano and you're just playing some chords and that certain words come to mind? How does your creative process work?
Well, usually it comes from practicing. Like that's where I got the A section for the song.
Yeah.
Uh, is usually starts with a chord progression, you know, and that chord progression has to really stand out on its own without the vocal. That's kind
Yeah.
of how I look at it. And then the melody comes from that, and then usually lyrics come like third, but sometimes the melody and the lyric come at the same time, which happened with this song. I kind of got the melody and the lyric, the hook part, at the same time.
Yeah.
So and then I just wrote the story. I just wrote the verses
Yeah.
after I had the hook, because I said, yes, that hook is very strong, and all I have to do is just write a nice story in there. So that's how that came about.
Cool. Cool. Now, we have to talk about COVID. Has that affected how you work now? I know you're able to work by yourself and create everything on your own, but has it affected the way that you work and the way that you create, or do you do collaborations, and has it affected that?
No, it hasn't really, because I do work by myself. It hasn't really affected me that much. As far as travel, to the studio, like the mixing part, it was different this time because I did it. We did it virtual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I usually go to the studio not far from here and do my mixing. But this time we did it virtual, and it was a different experience. But it was still pretty cool.
Yeah.
But um, only that part of it, because the tracking, I can do all the tracking myself, so it doesn't affect that at all.
Oh, okay. Now, since you're a legend, I have to ask you this. Do you have any advice for budding artists, for upcoming artists, for artists that want to have that kind of longevity? Can you impart some advice for them?
Well, first of all, realize that it's a tough business. Don't expect things to happen too fast.
Yeah.
Patient. You have to be patient and persistent. But at the same time, learn as much as you can about um, what you're doing musically. I find the more that you know, the more that you can produce. The different areas and different avenues you can take your music. The more you know about music.
Yeah.
Uh, and I would say study. Study all the study everything about music, study all the different genres, because there's just a wealth of knowledge out there that you can draw from. Like I said, I drew from classical, I drew from jazz, I drew from the blues. You
Yeah.
know, all of those things I was immersed in, and it made me be able to create the sound that I have today.
Yeah.
Without my music education, that sound wouldn't exist. So
Absolutely.
that would be my advice.
So, talk to me about what else we can look for. So, is this single part of an upcoming album? What are your plans coming up, following on from The Way You Love Me?
Yeah, I have some musical ideas I'm working on. I wanna have an album out by the summer, so
Okay.
that's what I'm shooting for. But yeah, it's like the introduction to the new album.
Okay, good, good. I'm looking forward to it because all of your music is absolutely fantastic. I just love the way that you work. Um, can you tell people how they can get your music so that it benefits you the most, where they can get in touch with you on social media and all of that?
Yeah, just go to chrisjasper.com, and then you can get to everything's on chrisjasper.com. All the music, the Facebook contact, Twitter, all that stuff, chrisjasper.com.
Great. Chris, I want to thank you for spending time with me here on Kicking It With. And I love talking to you. And thank you again for your time. And great success with your upcoming album. And the single is beautiful. I really like it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really good talking to you again.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that, man. You really amaze me. Every time I get something in my inbox from you, I know I'm good. It's great stuff. I really love what you do, man. You're a true legend. Thank you again, sir.
Thanks a lot.
All right, take care.